Today is Monday, February 23rd, 2026. This is Quick Start from CBN News. I'm Dan Andros. Hundreds of thousands are without power thanks to a snow bomb cyclone, while American tourists are trapped in Mexico as cartels war with police. We'll have those top stories and more on today's podcast, where we bring you news from a Christian perspective. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a rating. You can email us as well. Quick Start Podcast at cbn.org. Joining me today to get through all the news of the day, CBN's Billy Hallowell. A lot to get to, Billy. On the Focus story, you're going to be taking a look at a Christian movie that did pretty well this weekend.
Yes, we're talking about I Can Only Imagine 2. We had a chance to speak with filmmaker Andrew Erwin, so we'll break that all down today.
All right, details on that in just a moment. Also on the main thing, a transgender teacher who reportedly identified as a wolf is now out of the classroom after military families sounded the alarm. How did it even get this far? We'll have more coming up on the main thing. All right, I want to tell you about our sponsor of this podcast, Christian Solidarity International. And as Christians, we are called to remember those who are in prison as though in prison with them. That's Hebrews 13:3. And right now there are believers around the world who are experiencing just that, and they're also being displaced. They're being just targeted for following Christ. And so this is where Christian Solidarity International, they step in. For decades, they've worked on behalf of persecuted Christians and other religious minorities in some of these most hostile regions in the world, and they advocate for these people who are prisoners of the faith. They provide emergency aid, food, medical care, practical support. They are in there for the long haul. They are building relationships, not just dropping off stuff and taking off. They are building relationships. They are walking alongside these persecuted believers. If you want to stand alongside with them, visit csi-usa.org, csi-usa.org, and you can help be part of that life-saving help for these Christians, persecuted Christians around the world. csi-usa.org. And we're going to go to the news in 90 seconds now. And a deadly cartel takedown in Mexico has sparked a violent reaction, trapping American tourists just miles from the U.S. border after Mexican forces killed a leader of a major cartel. Within hours, cartel gunmen torched buses, cars, and businesses across western Mexico, including the beach city of Puerto Vallarta, a major vacation spot for Californians. Flights were suspended out of Guadalajara International Airport. Roads blocked. Gunfire was reported. As you could see, smoke on videos filling the sky throughout the skyline. Violence reportedly spread into multiple Mexican states, with Baja California near the U.S. border also seeing unrest. President Trump previously designated major cartels as international terrorist organizations and had pushed Mexico to intensify crackdowns. And now Mexico's Air Force is even having to respond to the dire situation. And a powerful winter storm is burying the Northeast under up to 2 feet of snow, shutting down flights, transit systems, and leaving hundreds of thousands in the dark without power. Forecasters warn the blizzard could dump as much as 24 inches across parts of the region, with New York City expecting up to 20 inches and wind gusts reaching 60 miles per hour. Those are just some of today's top headlines. You can check out more stories over at cbnnews.com. Billy, I know you and I are in the midst of this storm and looking outside this morning, and yep, it's a lot of snow out there, and not looking forward to having to shovel it later this afternoon once it all stops. But this is a crazy news weekend, Billy, because we've got the storm. We've got these videos coming out of Mexico that are just crazy, and you have Americans and Canadians trapped up there or down there. And you have Olympics. Major story of both U.S. hockey teams beating Canada for gold in overtime games. Crazy stuff there. President Trump called the U.S. men's hockey team in the locker room after the game, and that video went viral. And then also, just way down the news radar, a crazed gunman was killed at Mar-a-Lago. Apparently, he was obsessed with the Epstein files, according to some reports, but he showed up at Mar-a-Lago with a shotgun and was trying to get on there, and Secret Service ended up shooting him dead. what a crazy weekend we have going on. So much news.
Yeah, it's really wild. I mean, the Mexico news in particular, obviously because of our border and obviously the nation in general being so close in proximity, the Mar-a-Lago news, it's really alarming. I mean, again, this is a president who's already been shot once, and there have been at least one other attempt on his life. These are really concerning developments, and usually weekends are a little bit calm, but this one certainly was not.
No, and of course, there's the buildup with Iran that we're still looking for. Oh, and then also the State of the Union address is tomorrow night, and we will be hosting some pregame coverage on that as well as some post-speech analysis. And actually in that viral video of President Trump talking to the United States hockey team, he invited them, and I think he mentioned the women's team as well, to go to the State of the Union. So we'll see if they're there tomorrow night, but that was what he had actually talked about with them. So, but very cool to see America pull that off. It sparked a meme war, by the way, because Justin Trudeau was saying, you can't take our sport from us. And then the White House tweeted out a image of an eagle just kind of coming down on Canada there. It was really great. We're going to go to the focus story now. And as Billy mentioned there, I Can Only Imagine 2. You may remember I Can Only Imagine, the movie based kind of on the life of the singer of that song. And it did really well at the box office. Well, now there's a sequel to that, and it was released over the weekend. So how did it perform?
Yeah, I think that it performed very well. I mean, it made $8 million, came in third place over the weekend. And, I know there were hopes that would be the number one movie of the weekend, and it came in third. But listen, that's pretty good. $8 million is a lot of money to rake in during the weekend, especially at a time when fewer people seem to be going to the movies, right? And so to have this big faith-based story, a sequel to the first I Can Only Imagine, make nearly $10 million, it's pretty impressive.
Why does filmmaker Andrew Erwin believe movies like this do resonate with people and do draw an audience? Because, these aren't the types of films that have comparable budgets to A-list Hollywood movies. So for them to even be on these charts is impressive. So why does he think people come out to these?
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting. I mean, we've seen this again and again. We had a chance to sit down with Andy Erwin recently, and he talked about his mission to, tell stories of redemption. He said that he thinks there's been a craving, especially right now in America, for bold faith. He said younger people, especially the under 25 crowd, they really want something concrete, something real that they can believe in, and that because they're looking for something to believe in, it's sort of helps these films, not just with the young people, but with everyone, to really resonate at a time when faith is becoming more, I mean, to a degree, more mainstream, in that you're seeing a lot more people, accept Jesus, have curiosity right now. And so it's interesting because Andy Erwin and his brother, John Erwin, they started out working together. Now they have separate companies. Andy has Kingdom Story and John has Wonder, which is making House of David. Both of them are doing big things, in this space. And, I think for Andy, he says people, again, they want something to believe in, authentic humanity. And, films like this bring those emotions about. They've done just, for context, Woodlawn, American Underdog, Jesus Revolution. These are some of the other movies that they've created. So I Can Only Imagine 2 is just a part of that. And it is interesting to kind of see the popularity, at least even for his brother John with House of David, that even on the TV side, we're starting to see on the faith front. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where these things go next. And you're not always going to have victory on these fronts. But I think, the fact that audiences are showing up, it sends a message to Hollywood that, hey, we want more of these kinds of projects.
Yeah. And when I say low budget, I just mean comparatively, they have less budget, but these are quality films. I mean, if you've seen Woodlawn, you've seen some of these other ones, these are movies with high production quality, and they're very, very well done. So you're not getting anything less at the movie theater in that regard with Erwin's films. So there's that to consider, but also what's Erwin's mission moving forward as he considers what you were just talking about there?
Yeah, as he's continuing to sort of work on these projects, he said something interesting. He said, the longer I'm in this job, the more I become interested in the stories and the less I become interested in myself. He said, I love what we do, but what I do is not who I am. And the more I found freedom in that ability to divorce myself from what I do, it allowed me to kind of do it with the right reasons. And so his motivation is really following God and trying to tell these God stories in compelling ways. And I think that's what we need. We need people who are creating projects that they don't lose themselves in the fame and the money, but they sort of refine themselves and dig deeper. So it's an exciting time, and I'm hoping that we see more come like this, more films come like this, because people need it. People are desperate for it.
Yeah, I think you're right, and you said that earlier in the segment there, and I totally agree that I think people are yearning for this type of content that is highlighting things that are beautiful, good, and true. This is what people are craving as they are being fed lies in culture over and over and over again. They're basically told, don't believe your lying eyes, and here's this crazy theory that you must believe is true. And so I think people are definitely yearning for it. The harvest is ripe for the gospel message, for the message of faith, for the message of hope. And it's truth. And as Christians, we know it's truth. And so when it is presented to people, these are image bearers that it's being presented to, that a large number of them are going to respond to these sorts of messages. So I couldn't agree more that I think it is time for more content like this.
Yeah, agreed. And very, very hopeful and very excited, because there is more coming down the pipelines, actually. Yeah. So there's a lot happening.
All right. Yeah. Appreciate you bringing that one to the podcast today, Billy. Definitely hopeful when we have content. I mean, because we complain all the time about some of the trash that's out there, and there's a lot of trash that is out there. And so for these types of things to be coming out, it's great for our audience to know about it, because I know parents, as a parent myself, with a wide range of kids aging from 20 down to 10, we're looking for content that they can all watch. And sadly, there's not much of it that is fit for all of them, but this sort of movie is. And so it's great to hear more about films like this that are on the horizon and coming out. So appreciate you bringing that one to the podcast today. All right, we're going to go to the main thing now. And U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says the wolf was fired 2 weeks ago, but Liberty Counsel says they were never told. Now, serious questions are swirling about what happened inside a Department of Defense school and why parents say their kindergartners were left confused and frightened. Charlene Aaron speaks with Liberty Counsel's Matt Staver on this story for today's main thing.
U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth tells CBN News that a transgender teacher at a Fort Bragg elementary school has been fired. It comes after parents had expressed deep concerns about the teacher's behavior around their children. Before that news was revealed, I spoke with Liberty Counsel's Matt Staver about the case. A group of military families at Fort Bragg is deeply concerned about a teacher at their children's school who identifies as, quote, a transgender wolf. The parents point to multiple incidences where their children are terrified and confused. And joining us now for more on this disturbing case is Matt Staver of the Liberty Counsel. Matt, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. My pleasure to be with you.
This case is absolutely, I can't even wrap my mind around it. Can we talk first of all about what are some of the examples that parents have really told you guys about that they're super duper upset about? And of course,
this is unbelievable. It's really hard to imagine. You'd almost think that we're making this up, but sadly we're not. This is a kindergarten and pre-K teacher at a Fort Bragg elementary school, the Mildred P. Poole Elementary School. And military families send their children to this school. So this individual goes by multiple names. I'll tell some of the names in just a minute. But one of the things that this individual does is he identifies as a female and also as a wolf. And he comes to class on occasion with a tail out of his pants, dragging behind him like he is a wolf. He has gone by different names. He actually has the children howling in the classroom like a wolf because he identifies not only as a female, but he identifies as a furry, an animal. And there's a reason for that because that's sexually provocative. And that's another whole story. But one of the children came home and told her mommy, she said, "Mommy, I'm scared he's going to eat me." The mother said, "Who's going to eat you?" The daughter replied, "Miss Roxy. He told us again he turns into a wolf at night." Another child told the mother that Miss Roxy likes to have us howl like wolves. One of these children also said, "Mommy, Miss Roxy says he was born in a male's body, but he's actually a woman, but he likes boys." This individual is absolutely bizarre. He goes by all kinds of names like Roxanne Wildheart, Miss Roxy, Captain Roxy, Cody Wildheart, a Little Death Howl, Artemis Death Howl, and also Savage Beast Queen. He tells the kids to call him by those names. And he has on his social media a picture of a teddy bear with a knife in its neck and blood splurting from the teddy bear. He has an AR-15 rifle there also with a teddy bear. And it says, quote, "Do a crime." That's on his social media. So the parents brought this to the authorities at Fort Bragg. And they said, well, they can't do anything about it because this person is trans and identifies as a female and has a right to be able to do so. So that's why they contacted Liberty Counsel. We've now sent them a demand letter. They have not yet positively responded. We've said this person needs to get removed from the classroom.
This leads right into, I mean, this is troubling on so many fronts. I mean, you guys at Liberty say that this case involves sexual harassment of children. I mean, why hasn't the DOD school not intervened? I mean, for what reason have they not done something about it?
You know, this is, I think, the illustration of the depth of the woke agenda that some of the military has sunk to. Now, obviously, President Donald Trump and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, they're cleaning up the military. But they're doing it at the top, and it needs to sometimes trickle down to the bottom. And so some of this stuff that we are encountering, and this is probably one of the most bizarre, is still happening. So we're now going to file suit, bring this to the attention of the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, and President Donald Trump, to not only get this person removed from the classroom so that he won't terrify the students and parents, but also there needs to be people that should have made these decisions when the parents complained. They need to be removed as well. So he tells the kids that he turns into a wolf at night. He tells him that he has sexual fetish desires like an animal. He wears a dog collar with fetish tags and has an animal call in his class where he requires them to howl like wolves, and he wears a tail. This is just the most bizarre situation. It goes far beyond some man who is deceived and thinks that he's a woman. This person is really putting these children in danger and needs to be removed from the classroom ASAP.
Absolutely. Matt, does this case show that transgender rights supersede the rights of children in America today?
Yeah, I think what this does show is that this whole trans agenda, if unchecked, supersedes everything, supersedes religious freedom and supersedes the rights of parents and even common sense and the safety and well-being of the children. This is an agenda that really at its core is a rebellion against God. God created us in his image, male and female. What the trans agenda says is God made a mistake. He put you in the wrong body. He made a mistake. God made a mistake. So we're going to fix that mistake by creating ourselves in our own image. That's a direct rebellion against God, who is our creator. And that's why I think it's so critically important to understand this issue, because at its core root, it's a spiritual warfare against God, who is our creator.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. What will happen to this DOD school if the teacher is not removed?
Well, we are now preparing to file suit against this teacher individually, as well as the school in general as well, to make sure that these children and certainly the parents are protected. And this should never happen in any classroom. I mean, we have children. One of the girls refuses to use the bathroom during the day. When asked by the parent, why are you refusing to use the bathroom? Come to find out, this teacher is accompanying the little girls to the bathroom. And so they are afraid to walk near this teacher and go to the bathroom with this teacher nearby. So this is just beyond imagination.
Unbelievable.
It needs to stop.
It needs to stop immediately. Immediately. Matt Staver, Liberty Counsel, thank you so much for shedding light on this disturbing case. We'll stay tuned for more.
Thank you.
God bless.
All right, Charlene, appreciate that update on that story. And that's going to leave us with time on the podcast today for one last thing.
We've got Matthew 6:22-23. The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? And just thinking about entertainment, the things we take in, the things we look at, it matters. And so it's good that we've got films like I Can Only Imagine 2 to entertain us.
Yeah, absolutely. Great reminder of what are we filling up our minds and our eyes and our hearts with. And is it light or is it darkness? And make sure we take stock on that. Super important. All right, appreciate that. And appreciate you all being here to be alongside of us as we get through the news of the day with a Christian perspective. Make sure you're getting on over to cbnnews.com, faithwire.com for more news from a Christian perspective. And Lord willing, that creek don't rise up on us or the snow doesn't rise up on us. We'll be back here tomorrow. God bless. See you then.